All right, we are rolling. Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody had nice holidays. We got a cool, nice, beautiful day outside, and we got some new projects going on. Let's see, they're all boxed up. I'll spin you around in a minute. We're not going to show you everything, but we got a cool build that we're going to try and start on today. Hopefully the weather holds out because we got a little painting to do. And so, I'll spin you around, show you what we got. We got the big cool boxes. But anyway, look what we got here. Now, this is multiple projects, so I gotta open up everything and see what all we got for different projects. A little teaser right there, look at that. Ooh, anyway, enough looking at that. But Tilson, one of the best engines on the market. But we got all the cool stuff here. Like I said, many projects going on, but we're gonna start one today. And I gotta go through there, go through all the boxes, get out today's project, and then we'll get into the video and I'll show you what we're gonna do. So in the meantime, while I'm doing that, you can go over and hit the subscribe bell. If you don't know what that is, it's an icon that looks like that. It's a big bell. Yeah, subscribe, hit the notification bell, so you'll know when we get posted up more videos. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna open the cool boxes, get today's project lined out, and we're gonna get on it. Y'all stay tuned. Okay, well, welcome back. Hope you went over there and hit the subscribe bell. And I got everything unboxed. Made a huge mess. So I'm gonna spin you around and show you what today's project is. This is really cool. I've seen one, have never been on one, but it's pretty cool. But anyway, gotta say, whoever at GPS packaged my order did a great job. They even left me a note in the top. Open the big box up, there's a big note. But yeah, they packaged the snot out of it. Great job. And whoever left me the note, thank you. No, thank you for packaging my stuff extremely well. So, we'll get in today's video. We got it all on all the tables. So, this is the video that we're going to do today. This is a Bolt cart. It's completely bolted together. Some very good YouTube buddies of mine. Build, break, and repeat. Go check them out. They designed this cart. Then got with Go Power Sports. They teamed up together to have all the parts you need to build a bolt together go-kart. And when I mean bolt together, they got bolts and washers for everything. It's a lot of stuff here. Looks kind of overwhelming, but a little bit of time, we're gonna get through it. And I'm gonna show you how to bolt this thing together. But, you know, so this is a perfect project for you know, father, son, daughter, grandson type project. If you don't have a welder, don't have a cut and torch, you know, all that stuff, everything is nice. Laser cut or water jet cut, I'm not sure what they use, but you know, everything's already done for you. They even got the, down here you got the build, break, and repeat, the little deal stamped in it or cut in it. Then you got, spin this around, the nice GPS cut in it. Very cool. Got some little snazzy lightning bolts. But like I said, go check out Build, Break, and Repeat. Really cool guys. And thank Go Power Sports for this opportunity to put one of these things together. So it looks very overwhelming, but we're gonna get through it. But they give you every single nut, bolt, washer, everything you need. You got your steering wheel, sprocket, you got your pillow block bearings for your live axle. It does come with the live axle. All your brake components, clutch guard, everything you need. I got all your cables. Some of the stuff I left in bags just to keep it in there, and they do have labels on the bags. Tell you, you know, what it is. Like these are your engine mount. This is your engine mount hardware. You know, springs, your pedals, spindles, engine plate. We got it all. So it's a whole bolt together kit. So what I'm going to do now, like I said, live axle. Here's all your floor pan stuff. This is all bare metal, as you can see. So we need to take and get this cleaned up. I would suggest probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything wiped down with some either lacquer thinner or a wax and grease remover and get everything painted before we start assembling it. There's a lot of different little pieces here and there. So we're going to get all this stuff painted since the weather's good and get going with it. But there's some of it there. Then over here for our power plant, this kit comes with 98cc motor. And I put one of these on a little vintage bike a while back, you know, bone stock. And it's actually not bad. So we're going to see how it does on this cart. And if you want just the engine for a project, you got called Go Power Sports. They sell you just the engine. But this is what comes in the kit. Then you got your tires and wheels already mounted. Already got your bearings in it. This is for your rear live axle. So you got those. And here's all your seat right here. I left that one in the box, but you got your nice padded seat. So we got us a whole go-kart bolt together kit that we're going to get started on today. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get all this stuff prepped and get it all cleaned up since the weather's good and get it painted. Then I'm going to go through and get a game plan and y'all can follow along. Oh, that's heavy. Man, all the floor pan stuff. So you can follow along and we're going to build this cart together and see if we can't make it kind of flashy and cool. So I'm going to get to painting. All right, going here to the old paint booth, do the latch. Let's see. I'm going to check everything out. Let's turn some light on. Ooh, nice and toasty in here. All right, I got all the parts lined up. Got my filter situation in my little redneck paint booth. But I got all the frame pieces lined up first. Just kind of run out of room. I used some wax and grease remover. Got them all wiped down. So we're going to hit it with some, what color we got here? We got a deep blue. And we got a respirator. So got the paint shaking up. Come over here and turn some exhaust on. About time for new filters. Oh, come over here. Turn that one on. We'll go open that window. Get a cross flow going through here. And we're going to get everything painted. I ain't going to show you painted because I'm not going to get paint all over the lens. But let's make it shiny. Alright, well I got all the parts painted. Excuse me, got all the parts painted. We got parts everywhere. So now we're going to get to the frame assembly part. And some of this might look kind of tricky, but I'm going to try and go over everything slowly so you kind of see where the brackets go, because some of the brackets are different. For example, some of these brackets you'll see have 5 holes in them, and you'll have the same kind of shaped bracket, but it'll have 4 holes in it. And some of your rails coming down the frame have different holes in it. So we're going to go over that real quick to make it simple. A lot of this, everything has got a top plate, then you'll have a bottom plate. So we're going to start here at the front. This is going to be your front axle assembly, front of the cart. And if you look down at it, right where your tie rod or your spindle goes through, you want to make sure that this is aiming back towards the back of the cart. And also down here at the very center, you'll have, if I can get it to zoom, you'll have 2 holes at the very front on your front axle. You need to make sure those 2 front holes are at the bottom of the cart, just like how we got it sitting on the table. Your frame rails, you're going to have 2 small holes that are going to be facing up. And then this is where your cable is going to go for your whatever pedal you're doing, whether it's your brake or your accelerator pedal. So you need to have these 2 up. And at the front right here, the very front hole, this is where your pedal is going to mount. I'll get my hand out of the way. That hole needs to be at the top because it's not in the center of the pipe. So you want to have this hole facing up. And you can also tell, if you come to the very back of the cart rail, you're going to have 2 big holes that are on the top of the cart. You want to make sure these are both going to be at the back. So if you look at the right side over here, they're both going to be at the back. So this will indicate your rear and the front. Now, the center braces that come down through here, we're going to count the holes on the top along here. This one here has got 5 holes. So you want all the 5 holes facing up. Then you'll have a set of 4 holes. Those are going to be facing straight towards the front of the cart. Then we go to the next rail. which is the same thing. Has no holes in the center, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top, and you'll have an extra one over here on the side. So this needs to be on the left side of your cart as if you're sitting in it. And the very back rail, which is going to go closer to the back of the cart, but I have it just sitting right here because I don't have a big enough table. It's going to be the same thing. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes in it, and the extra one needs to be on your left side. Same as the one in front. These are going to be on the left side of your cart. Then you'll have your engine plate at the back, which it's going to go obviously on the left side of the cart. And then underneath, to sandwich everything together, you're going to have this style bracket that's going to go on this side here. And I have the other ones on the other table because I'm running out of room. And this bracket here is going to go on the right side of the cart, just like so. And your other bracket with the 4 holes is going to go underneath it. So I don't have extra help and extra set of hands to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all bolted together, and then we're going to go back over it and I'll show you exactly how everything looks when you got these part of the frame rails put together. But you'll come over in your hardware kit and you should find a big box, just like so. These are going to be a metric bolt. You can get it right here and open it up for you. These are an 8mm by 45 bolt. 8mm by 45. So you have a whole box of those. And you also look in your hardware pack and you're going to find some bolts that are 8mm by 60. These are going to hold your pillow block bearings on. So you'll have 4 of these, and that's going to go on the rear of the machine. You got your big bag of flange nuts, and these are going to be your lock washers for it. So what we're going to do now is I'll take a handful of these bolts. We're going to come over and we're going to get this bolted up, but you don't want to tighten anything up yet because you're going to have to flip the cart over, put floor pans, some other braces on. So basically, do not tighten anything till you get all the bolts in place. And I do have some blocks underneath the frame, just so as I'm coming underneath here to put, you know, your top plate on, then you got to come underneath and put your bottom plate on. I have enough room where I can get my hands underneath here to start the nuts and get everything started. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the frame assembly put together, and then we'll take a up close look at it to see how everything bolts together. All right, well, let's get this front on here. Got the front axle. We got to make sure it's going in the right direction. We got the 2 small holes right here at the bottom. So what we're going to do is grab some of the bolts, and we'll get the top plate. You're going to put a bolt basically in every hole, just like so. If you got paint in these, might be a little tricky. I'm going to come over to this side, do the same thing. 2 there. Try and lift all this up without knocking the camera on the floor. Another bolt. I'll come over here and put these 2 in. All right. A little paint in that one. There we go. All right. These 2 front ones are going to take the 5-hole bracket. So you got 5 holes in this one. Basically, it's just going to go underneath. Drops right in. We need to stick another bolt right here. Now we're going to take and just put a hand tighten these nuts because we're not going to tighten anything at this point. Basically, we're just getting the frame all put together into place. All right, that ought to tighten that up there. Then we'll come over here, do the same thing we did on that side. Take the 5-hole bracket, slide it underneath. Squish it in there just like so. Oh, need a bolt right here to go through. And we'll just put a few nuts on it. Kind of hold it together. There we go. How about we just put another one right here on this back one. There we go. That'll hold that part together. Now we'll come to this metal section. See if we can move the camera around here for you. All right. We'll back up a little bit. Now we're going to come to the first bar in the frame. This is the front of the cart. And this one is going to have the 2, 3, 4, 5 holes in the top. And you'll have the 4 in the side. So we're going to get some bolts. I think that goes right here. Just like so. You need to put another one there. And we take another 5-hole bracket, just like on the front. That's going to go underneath. It's like a big erector set. It's kind of cool. All right. Let me come around here. We'll put one more in it just to kind of hold it together. I'm not going to bore you with putting every nut on at this time because we're going to have to flip the cart over to put the floor pans on. So I just want to kind of hold it together at this point. All right, that'll hold up. Let me grab some more bolts. Might as well just get the whole box. All right, now we got the whole box of bolts here. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Take your 3-hole bracket, put the 4 bolts in it. Drop that right into place. Oh, wrong spot. Oh. Oh, I got it backwards. It's upside down. Yep. All right. Got it backwards again. Now we got it right. Can be a little tricky. All right. Put a couple more bolts in it. And we'll take another 5-hole bracket, just like we did on the left side of the cart. Slide it underneath. Let's see, we'll put one more bolt back here. We'll just put a couple nuts on it to hold it in place. We'll put one more in right here. All right, that ought to hold it right there. Now we're going to get to the back 2 rails. So I'm going to spin the camera around and we'll put the back 2 rails in. All right, now we're going to place the 2 rails at the back of the cart. And this is the one that has the 1, 2, 3, 4 holes at the top. They need to be facing up. Your extra hole is going to be on the left side of the cart, same as the one on the rear. So you're going to come along your back frame rail and find your 3 holes. You're going to take the first one, line it up with the 3 holes. You'll find this shaped bracket. It's going to go on top. We'll drop a couple bolts into place, line up the holes. You have another bolt right here. Now you're going to come to the back of the cart and you're going to find the triangular shaped bracket that has the 4 holes in it. Bring that up from the bottom. Just put a nut or 2 on it. There we go. If it'll start. How about this one? All right, let's grab one more nut to hold it in place. All right, now we're going to come over here to the left side. We're going to use the same 4-hole bracket, this triangle that's going to go right there, but we need the engine plate. So I'm going to grab the engine plate, got some extra bolts, I get a few more bolts, and some nuts. So let me grab the engine plate, more nuts, put those right here, and we'll move this stuff around just a little bit, see where things are going on. All right, now let's get back to the engine plate that's going to be on the back left side of the cart. Here's your engine plate. We're going to flip it around just like so. You're going to, the little cool laser cut piece, the little lightning bolt will be in the far back right corner. And then we're just going to line this up just like so. Get your frame lined up here. Go ahead and drop bolts in the front. Down the side rail. One more right here. And this is going to be on the left side of the cart. You'll find your other bracket that's triangle shaped with the 4 holes. That's going to go underneath, just like the right side of the cart. Just like so. We'll put another 2 on it just to hold it in place. Don't want to tighten anything because we're going to have to take some of these back off. So we're just going to put a couple on it just to hold everything. That ought to hold it there. Now let's go to the back frame rail. See if we can zoom in on that, get these bolts out of the way. All right, back frame rail. Rear of the cart. Same thing, you got 2 bolts or 3 holes over here on this side. You got 3 on this side. The 3 on these 3 will be on the left side of the cart to bolt your engine plate together. Then you'll find 3 of these brackets, the little star, little lightning bolt cut in them, and that's what's going to sandwich these. So we're going to go ahead and do the right side of the cart first. Get some bolts, some nuts. And see if we can zoom in over here on the back right corner of the cart. But what we are going to need to line everything up are your pillar block bearings, bolts. So you're going to find 4 long ones. Show you a reference here. These are going to be your long bolts that hold your pillar block on. These are the regular bolts that go in the rest of the frame. These are going to be a 60 millimeter. You'll have 4 of these. So we're going to go ahead and just drop them through the bracket to help line everything up. Go ahead and put the other 2 in the engine plate over here on this side, just to keep everything lined up. Now we'll bolt this back piece, back rail in. So we got those 2 there. Move my block around a little bit. There we go. Line these up. I'm going to go ahead and grab a few bolts. Drop in there. Back of the engine plate. Need one more. Grab a few more bolts. How about we just dump them right there. All right, we got those there. The long ones for the pillar blocks, long ones for your pillar block. So we need 2 here. Now we'll take the other bracket. This bracket is basically you just go underneath. Make a little room here. There we go. This goes right underneath. Just like so. All right, we'll put a couple nuts on it to hold it into place. Grab another nut. If I can get my fingers to work, how about one more nut? There we go. All right, that corner's done, so we'll find the other bracket. We're going to come underneath the engine plate. Need a couple nuts. Where's the nuts? Here we go. All right, now we're going to do the bottom side of the engine plate. Just like the left side. This is going to go from underneath. Just like so. bolts pushed in there. We'll put a couple nuts on it just to hold it all together. But we put another one right here. All right. I think that part's pretty much done. We'll take a quick look at it. So maybe y'all can kind of get a zoom in on how everything looks. Here's your front of your cart. Got to make sure that your front axle is facing towards the back of the machine. That's how the front brackets look. Then you got the bottom one underneath right here, your top one. Those are the bottom ones are going to be the 5-hole. Also, you'll have a 5-hole here. 5-hole on that side. Then once you get to the back rails of the cart, you'll have your engine plate come over the top. Then you'll have your 5-hole bracket, or I'm sorry, your 4-hole bracket underneath. Your other 4-hole bracket underneath. And then your corner brackets, you have 3 of them. These here. So it just sandwiches right together. Like I said, we're going to leave everything loose because we're not tightening anything up till we get floor pans and other stuff in. So we got that side done. Your engine plate side. This is how your engine plate should look. You want to have this little tab sticking up right here because this is where your cable runs, I do believe, for your brake assembly. So that's how that should look. You got your other plate squished right underneath there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and there's a crash bar or bumper assembly and a piece of tubing. So I'm going to find which ones those are. We're going to go get those put on the front of the cart and I'll show you how that part goes on. Okay, now we're going to assemble the front bumper or crash bar. So what you'll need to do is look in your pile of brackets. You need 4 of these. You got a top and bottom. Then you look for the shortest piece of square tubing that matches your frame rails. Some have angles cut on the ends. This one does not. So you want to find the shortest piece. This is going to be your front bumper or your crash bar. Now, I do have the frame blocked up to make it a little bit easier to get underneath here. This is the same thing. We're just going to lightly just run the nuts down. Don't want to tighten anything yet. All right. Get that started. I'm going to come over here, take another bolt. Nut. There we go, snug that up. And we'll come take one more bracket. Take your bottom bracket. Where is it? There's the hole. Put a nut. Good. Then we put the last bolt right in the top and put a nut on it. Yeah, it'd be good. We're not going to tighten everything up. All right, we'll take a close look at that. This is what your front crash bar or bumper should look like from the front of the cart. And once again, probably going to say it a million times, we don't want to tighten up anything yet. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take the cart and we're going to flip the cart upside down and position my blocks underneath it, because now what we're going to do is we're going to put the floor pans in and then we can start tightening up bolts. So that's what you should be looking at this stage here. Bumper zone, brackets are all down the side, engine plate, rear brackets. So, all right, let me clean up this stuff, get some stuff moved out of the way. We're going to take the cart, flip it upside down, and proceed to the next step. Okay, I got the frame blocked up, and as you can see, I put the blocks right underneath where the bolts go through to kind of hold them into place. The reason why you didn't tighten up anything is because now you got to put the floor pans in, and the floor pans are going to be held in by all the nuts you put on. So we need to go along, take all the nuts back off, and then we're going to install the floor pans. Okay, now once you got your frame flipped upside down, you taking all the nuts off everything. That's why you didn't tighten anything. So you have the bolt sticking up, put blocks from underneath. Now we're going to install the floor pans. And basically the floor pans only go on one way, just line up your holes. So we got 3 holes in this corner and 1 to the side. Then you have your center bolt holes. So we're just going to line these up, just like so. Now my kit come with a bag of lock washers. So I'm going to go through, just reinstall, put a lock washer on each one and reinstall the nuts. And looked like I had a bolt fall through. There we go. We'll put a lock washer on that. And we'll get some more and come up here and get the front of the pan bolted down. Just like so. I need a couple more nuts. Alright, that looks good there. Now we're going to grab the other seat pan for the other side. Looks like we got it lined up, so we're just going to line the bolts up. Pop it right into place. Yep, that looks good. And do the same thing. Put our lock washers on it. Nuts. We need up here 3 or 4 more. Let's see, I think we gotta leave these nuts off. I think I might have jumped the gun here. Yeah, I jumped the gun here. Yeah, I think I did. Alright, let's get these back off. The washers, by the way. Okay, yep. Alright, let me grab my front floor pans. I remember which way we got them. Alright, here's your front floor pan. And however you do your back pans, here and here, you want to make sure and do the front the same way. So as you can see, I have this one over this side. So I want to come here to the front and do the same thing. So that means I need to get my left pan first. And where did I put the left pan? Somewhere. Where did I put it? Where did I hide it? I hid it from myself. Oh, here she is, right over here. Left floor pan. Alright, so we need to put this side pan down so it matches the back. And let's line up the holes. We got, we're missing bolt holes at the front. I need to take those back off. So this should go just like so. Yep, and then we'll put that one on that side. I need to get these bolts back out of here, or these nuts off. So let's lay this right underneath here. I'm going to put some blocks underneath the front to hold the bolts. And we'll get these front pans put on. Okay, now we can get the front floor pans in. Took all the nuts off, got it blocked up so these blocks will hold the bolts through. So we're going to do the same thing. We went over and under, so we need to put this floor pan down first. You just need to line up the corresponding holes, which should be just like so. There we go. That's it. Those lock washers on it. Install the nuts. And when you come up here to the front, do the same thing. Get everything started first. Nuts. More lock washer. That one, and that one. Alright, now we come over here and get this side put on. And it should go like, just like so. Just like that. Nice. All right, we'll get the lock washers on. Nuts. All right, we'll grab some of these, put them on the fronts. These started. Looks like I need to grab a few more lock washers. Let's see, need a few more. One there, and last two nuts. All right, what I do need to do now is that you got these three holes right down the center. I need to come from underneath and I need to put the last three floor pan bolts in, nuts and lock washers, and tighten everything up. Now, they say you need to torque everything to at least 18 foot-pounds, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get all these just run down with the impact. I'll come back with a torque wrench and torque all the bolts, or all the nuts down to 18 foot-pounds, and and the center bolts, 1, 2, and 3. Get those put in, get those torqued down, the front bumper or crash bar bolted down, the ones at the back, and then we'll proceed to the next step. Okay, excuse me, here's an overview of what we're going to do for the rear axle assembly. These are the parts that you're going to need to have. Obviously, we're going to have an axle. You should already have the nuts and washer on the ends. You'll have two greasable pillar block bearings. They have their own lock and set screws in them. Then next you'll have your adapter here. You have the brake drum and the hub inside. I think there's and keyway should be in there. Then you'll have your adapter here with the keyway in it. Your sprocket. There's your rear sprocket. Then you'll have a whole bunch of lock collars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble this, kind of go over everything, show you where all the keyways go, lock collars go, and which way everything faces. It has to face in a certain direction. So what I'll do is I'll get this assembled and we'll go over a detailed view of exactly how your assembly is going to go together. Alright, I got the axle assembly put together, and like we did the rest of the cart, we're not going to tighten anything up until we get the axle assembly in the cart. That way we can slide everything. But kind of walk you through everything. This is going to be your axle nut and washer. We just put that back on there. You'll have 3 lock collars. You have your sprocket with your adapter. And you want your set screws facing out towards the wheel. Then you come over here, you have another lock collar. You have your pillow block bearing, which you want your pillow block bearing where you can get to the set screws facing your sprocket or facing outboard towards your wheel. You'll have 2 more lock collars. You'll have your brake assembly, and your brake assembly is the same thing. You want your bolts facing towards the out or the cup of your brake drum. This is your actual brake drum when you pull these stickers off here, but you want this inside part facing towards the left of the cart. Then you have 2 more lock collars. Then you come down, you have 1 more pillow block bearing. Same thing, you want your set screws. Where are the set screws? You want your set screws facing out towards the wheel. Then you'll have 1 more lock collar. Then you'll actually have your axle nut and your washer. So I just want to get the assembly done while I had room on the table. And then once we get to that part, like I said, we leave everything loose till we get it in the cart. And then we'll start tightening everything up. That way you can move everything where you want it, as far as your pillow block bearings, your lock collars to lock things, your sprocket. You can get your sprocket aligned up, collars for your wheels, collars for your sprocket to hold everything in place. We'll put keyways in last when we get everything tight. So that's how everything should look. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get the cart back up on the table and do some more of the framework on it, and we'll get this axle assembly installed shortly after that. Alright, we're going to jump over here and get the front assembly done on the spindles on the front. This is what your spindle should look like. You will have a plastic nylon sleeve that goes in between your spindle and your wheel. And this could be your wheel nut. Then whenever you remove the bolt here that goes through the frame. You have a lock nut on the bottom. You will have two plastic bushings. So when you pull this out, make sure these stay inside. This one's stuck to the bolt. So what we're going to do is take it off the bolt, make sure it stays inside because they will fall out. Before I assemble this, I usually take this, just put a little bit of grease on it. Just smear a little bit on there like so. I'm going to get pretty with it. Now we'll make sure both bushings, the bottom one, top one, stay into place. We'll put the lock nut on the bottom, just like so. That's that one side. Let's go over here and get the other side done. We're going to do basically the same thing as the other side. Pull the bolt out. Set that nut there. That bottom one stayed in. There we go. Make sure that plastic bushing stays into place. I'm going to smear just a little bit of grease on this bolt. Make sure our bushings didn't fall out. They're both in there. Wipe that excess grease off. We're good. Now, we're just going to snug these up. They got movement. These are a 15/16. So if you don't have a big 15/16 socket and a ratchet, you can use just a big crescent wrench. And it should be a bit right there. Yeah. Moves nice and smooth. Try it one more time. A little bit extra. There we go. Let's go right there. How does that feel? Nice and tight. All right. I'll get the other side tight, find the rest of the steering components, and we'll get the rest of the steering done. All right. Now we're going to jump to the steering column or the steering assembly. So you're going to come over here and you have two long brackets, and the edges of these are cut at an angle. These two are cut at an angle. These two are also cut at a small angle. So what you want the shorter of the two. We're going to take these four brackets, come over here, then the top plates, you'll need this one and this one right here. So we're going to grab these, get over to the cart, and start installing that steering column. Okay, so we got the two upright pieces right here. The bottoms are cut at a little bit of an angle. That angle, the shorter side is going to be facing in towards the column. So basically they're going to be kind of pivoted up at an angle. So I'm going to sit those there. And these, you're going to have four of these brackets. These brackets are a little bit, they're kind of tricky, I guess you'd say. You have like a tall side, and if you turned it this way, it'd be a little bit shorter here and here. So we're going for the long look. You want the longer side facing upward. Grab a couple bolts. Feed them through the cart. Frame. Then we're also going to take another one on the back side. Same position. You want the taller side facing up. We'll go ahead and put our lock washers and nuts on them. And once again, we're not going to tighten anything up until we got it all assembled here. All right, we need two more bolts. Once again, we're going to take the shorter of the radius inside, and it's going to go towards the center of the cart. Fasten it on the back, washers and the nuts. Just barely snug these down. Finger tight's all you need. Now we're going to come do the exact same thing on this side. We're going to make sure our tall side of the bracket's facing up. Do the frame. Another plate on the back. Need another washer. And a nut. And we're going to grab the other upright. Same thing. Face it inward. And the bolt. One more nut. All right, let me grab the 2 top plates. Top plates are going to be for your steering column, the very top. You want the, let's see if I can get it without dropping it here. You got the Build Break Repeat logo with the 2 lightning bolts. You want that at the front, where obviously it says when you're looking at the front of the cart, you have the Build Break Repeat. So I'm going to grab a couple bolts here. Make sure I put it the right direction. It is. Then we're going to take your back plate, just like so. And we want to leave all this loose as well when we feed the steering column through. We're able to get it through. So for now, I think we're just going to put 1 bolt on this side, just in case I have to take this back off to get the column lined up. But we will put a nut on it just to hold it in place. So let me go grab the steering column and the front assembly, and we'll get that mounted up on the cart. Okay, I went and found my bag. This is going to be all your steering column, steering wheel, castle nut, some spacers. Actually, I think there's some extra pieces in here. But what you want to do is find this bag, remove the 2 lock collars. You will need a 4 millimeter Allen wrench. Say that real fast. I want to loosen these off just a little bit. Make sure they're both loose. These are. Then you're going to find 2 brackets. You'll have your lower front steering shaft, or we're going to say steering column bracket. Then you're going to have the rear one. One's tall, one's short. Probably aiming in the same direction. So these are going to go to hold the very front of your steering column to the cart. So we're going to start off by putting 1 lock collar on first. Try not to scratch the paint all up. Now we're going to go with the short one. Now we're going to go with the longer one. And then the last lock collar. So now we're ready to install it on the cart. So you have the short plate at the front, then the long plate, collars on both sides. So now we're going to install it into the upright and get it mounted to the front of the cart. All right, now we're going to make sure and left all of this stuff loose so we're able to slide the collar up in here in place. We're going to need 2 bolts and the hardware for it to mount the column at the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ease this up here, try not to scratch all my paint off of it, just like so. Then we're going to separate the 2 plates. You got one that's going to go in the front of the cart, one that's going to go in the back, just like so. We're going to ease the bolts through. Get them through the front plate. Put the other bolt in. Make sure they go all the way through the plate. Now we can put the hardware on. Slide this column all the way up. Get the nut. There we go. Fingers didn't want to work. All right, we need one more lock washer down here. And one more nut. There we go. And that sandwich is in there just like so. So I'm going to leave the lock collars loose. But what now I'm going to do is go ahead and finish putting the rest of the bolts in here. Get all this tightened up. And this is the same thing as the rest of the cart. At least 18 foot-pounds is what you want to torque it down to. Need a lock washer over here. And then you grab some nuts. All right. Got that. And nut. All right, so now I'm going to get all this tightened up. Make sure I have play in the steering column. Then I can come back and set my lock collars right here with a 4mm Allen wrench after I got everything tightened up. Okay, after I got the steering column in, got it all tightened up, we're good to go. Got our front spindles on. Now we're going to put the steering links on. So what you'll need, you go in your hardware pack and you're going to find 3 polyurethane lock nuts. That's what you're going to use for the nuts on the front end. 3 lock washers and 3 of the same bolts that you put the rest of the frame together with. So we're going to start in the center. What I'm trying to do is keep my steering shaft completely straight. So we're going to start with putting 1 lock washer on the bolt. Another lock washer on the back side. Your other steering rod. We're going to put the 1 more lock washer. Now we'll be able to put the assembly. So your assembly should look like this. A lock washer in between each one at the bottom. I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to take one of the polyurethane lock nuts. Get that started. Then we're going to do the same thing on each end. Basically we'll use a bolt. Goes through your link. And we'll put a lock washer, lock nut on the bottom on both sides. And once I get everything lined up, the front wheels put on, the back wheels put on, then I can come and adjust the tie rod links to get my toe in and toe out, get that all aligned. All right, so now we got that all on. We're going to keep this good and straight in the center. I'll come back and get all this tightened up and adjusted after we get the front wheels on it. Okay, now we're going to jump and get the side rails on. So what we're going to do is come over here and look for these 2 pieces. These are the longer pieces with the edges of one end are cut slightly at an angle. Then you have your side rail pieces here. Then you got the 2 back plates right here. So we're going to take all this, get it over to the cart, and we're going to get the side handles installed. Okay, now we're going to get started. We're on the right side of the cart. We're going to get the side rails, side handles of the cart bolted up. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually, on this side, we're going to put the bolts coming from the inside of the cart facing out, just so when we get ready to put the cushion and your legs rub it against it or anything else, you won't have the sharp end of the bolt. So what we're going to do is we're going to move these out of the way here. So we're going to take one of the brackets, We're going to start the bolts from the inside. Come through the frame rail of the cart. And we'll take one more. I'm going to stick it on the outside. Once again, we're going to leave everything loose until we get it all bolted up. And then we can go back and tighten it. All right, we'll just snug that there. And hold, please. Okay, battery is going dead. I had to do a quick battery change. All right, so we got the front ones on. Now we're on the right side of the cart, so you need to come find this bracket here, which will have the build, break, and repeat logo cut out of the top. This is going to be the back support. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to install the bolts from the inside of the cart, just like so. Ease those through. Then we'll get one more bracket, just like we put on the front. Some locking hardware. Get these started. There we go. We're going to leave everything loose, like I said. All right, we're going to go grab a tube. These are some of the other short tubes. You'll find these tubes here that have 4 holes, 2 on each end. They're going to go right in here. Same thing, we're going to run the bolts through the back side, or from the inside out. Ease it down here. Get them through the plate. Here we go. The little locking hardware on here. All right, we're going to do the same thing back here at the back. Run the bolt through. Bolt through. Run that down. And just lightly snug these up. That's all we got to do for right now. Okay, so that's what that side looks like. Spin you around here. Get it off the camera stand. There we go. So this is how you should look. Your beveled edge aimed forward. You got the back one hanging towards the back. And then when you're looking down here, you should be able to see the build, break, and repeat. There's your handle here. So I'm going to do the basically same thing on the other side. And then we'll get to the back part of the seat and get that stuff mounted. Okay, we got that side done. We got this other side done. Everything is still loose, just finger tight. Now we're going to put the back uprights for the back part of the seat. Go over and grab those. Now these are the other last 2 that have the beveled edge cut on one end. So that beveled edge is basically, got paint everywhere. That beveled edge is going to be facing where your backrest sits at an angle, just like so. You don't want it this way or this way. Obviously it's not going to line up. So that beveled edge, shorter edge, needs to go to the back of the cart. Now these bolts here, we can bring in from the side to make it look nice and nothing will rub against the seat cushion. If I can see the hole in it. There's a hole in it somewhere. Let's see. There we go. There's one there. Another one at the bottom. Let's get some locking hardware. And these also you want to leave loose until you get everything tight. All right. Grab a couple bolts here. We'll get the other side on. Same thing. Short cut edge to the back. Get our bolts in. The locking hardware put on. All right, now we'll go get the rest of the back of the seat parts and the angle brackets, get those on. Okay, so we got these on. They're still loose. Now you can go find your last piece of tubing for the seat upright. Your hole's going to be facing forward. Now we got that. Let's set that to the side. You're going to have different brackets right here. These are going to stamp with GPS on one side, and you'll have the build, break, and repeat on the other side. So you want to put these in correspondence of when you have your seat cushion on here, that you're able to line these up and see everything. So we're going to get those installed, and we ought to be back in business. So let's get a few bolts here. We're going to put these through the front, through the holes, like so. Then we're going to take the build, break, and repeat one. Let's see, is that going to go on this side? Yes, it's going to go on this side. I'm going to put the bolts in it. Use the top holes. And we're going to find the corresponding ones that go on the back. So if you're looking at the back of the cart, you have the GPS logo on the left side. Go ahead and put some hardware on it, kind of hold it into place. Another washer, nut. Well, I'll throw that one in the floor. We'll find it later. Now, on the other side of the cart, which you'll be looking at this from the back, it'll have the build, break, and repeat logo in it. So this is going to go on this side. And let's see, we need a washer and nut. All right, now we can take some bolts. Now we're going to ease the last frame piece, your backrest in. We're just going to put this one in right there to hold it. Come over here and put a bolt in it. There we go. We need 2 more bolts. One right there. One right there. We're running out of nuts and bolts. So that means we ought to be getting pretty close. Okay, let's put a couple over here. And let's see. All right. There we go. Got the seat back all done. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go ahead and get everything snugged up and torqued down. I've been torquing everything. They say 18, minimum of 18. I've been running everything down to 20 foot-pounds. So let me get all this tightened and torqued down, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, next thing we're going to do, since we got all this tightened up, torqued down. Matter of fact, let's put the torque wrench somewhere so we don't drop that on the floor. All right, everything's all torqued down. So we're going to put the seat back on it. You'll go in your supplied bag. You'll look for a bag like this. There'll be 4. These are 40 millimeter long bolts, and they're going to go from the inside, and we're going to get the seat back on. So let me grab that. All right. This is going to go in here just like so. Bolts will go from the inside through the back. Put another one over here just to hold it in place. There we go. Get the bottom ones in. All right. We'll put the locking hardware on it as well. This one we can go ahead and get tightened up. All right. One at the top. A little paint in there. All right. There we go. All right. I'm going to get these tightened up and torqued down, and we'll move on to see what we can get put on this cart next. We're getting close. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and wrap up the front steering. I got the steering wheel that they supplied in your kit with the cover over the center. You're going to come down to your hardware bag, which will be marked steering shaft hardware pack. You'll find that. And this is the parts you're going to look for. You're going to look for your splined adapter for your steering wheel, your castle nut, 3 Allen bolts, 3 lock nuts, and the Carter pin for your castle nut. So what we're going to do is we'll come over here. We're going to flip this wheel upside down. You'll have this little plastic cover over it. So we're going to pop this cover off. See if I can do it one-handed. Yeah, and I probably can't without breaking something. Oh, bingo. Okay. We're going to take the cover off, set that to the side, flip the steering wheel back over, and basically what we're going to do here is we're going to put the adapter just like so. We're going to line all this up, bolt it together with the supplied hardware. So I'm going to go find my Allen wrench. These look like 10 millimeter. So we'll get the adapter mounted to the steering wheel. We'll take it over to the cart, put the castle nut and the Carter pin, and we'll get the steering wheel mounted to the column. Okay, got the adapter and everything done, so I'll spin it around here and show you what it looks like. After we remove the plastic cap, we're able to access the holes down here. Spin it around the back side. You take your hub adapter, your Allen bolts, which are 5 millimeter, and you'll need a 10 millimeter wrench or socket and ratchet to get your hub adapter on. Got that good mounted tight. And you want to come over here and make sure that your steering is still straight up and down. That still looks straight. All right, so we got that straight. Now you want to come over here and position your wheel on the spline shaft. When I painted this, make sure if you do paint that or powder coat it, make sure you get that taped off because you don't want to get stuff your powder or paint, whatever, in the splines or in the little hole. Can't zoom in on it. It don't want to zoom. There it is. A little hole right there for your castle nut Carter pin. So what I'm going to do is I want this lined up about yonder. Let's see. Trying to look through the camera and the deal at the same time. Oh, slides right on the splines. Let's get back here at the back, see how straight it looks. Yeah, that looks good. So now what we'll do is we'll come over here, get the supplier castle nut. We'll get this run down. Now you can use a crescent wrench or whatever, but this nut is a 21 millimeter. We'll get that tight. Then you want to come back in and get your Carter pin in. Make sure you line it up so whenever you get your nut tight, you're able to get your pin in wherever the hole is. Y'all know what I mean, right? There's a hole in there somewhere. I know it. I seen it a while ago. Anyway, yeah, right there. So you gotta get the nut tight so your hole lines up. So the hole lines up with the Carter pin. Then when you come back, we'll snap the nice cover right over the top. So let me get that tight, lined up, and we'll go on to the next thing. Okay, with the cart all blocked up, I'm going to come over here and hang the rear axle assembly. Now these are the bolts. These are the long bolts right here for your pillow block bearings. Already got the hardware off. So on both sides. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try to do it one-handed or with both hands, one person. We're going to take the axle assembly and get it put in the cart. We do want to make sure that the sprocket stays on the outside of the frame rail. You got a pillar block. Your brake drum needs to stay to the left side, and then your other pillar block bearing obviously stays down here. And this is the same way we assembled it earlier with set screws and everything facing outboard towards your wheel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this hung into place and then show you how I'm going to go about getting everything lined up and centered onto the frame. So let me get it hung on there and we'll get it mocked up. Okay, got the axle assembly mounted up. So what you want to do is, this is how it should look. Kind of go over a slow view here. You got a couple of lock collars. You got 3 lock collars. This is how your sprocket adapter is going to line up. You got another lock collar in between your sprocket and your pillow block bearing. 2 more lock collars. Your brake drum. 2 more lock collars. 1 more lock collar on the other side of your deal. Your pillow block bearing. So what I've done here is I took the axle, slid it all the way to the back, make sure it held tension against it while I secured both pillow block bearings, so the axle is good and straight. It's all the way at the back. So now what we're going to do, before you center anything up, we're going to put the wheels on, put the Carter pin in the wheels, not the Carter pin. We're going to put the keyway in the wheels on both sides and get everything centered. Then we'll set the pillar block bearings, and then we can start lining everything else up from there. But before we do all that, we need to get the engine on. But since I got it up here, we'll show you how I did that. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and put my keyway in, show you how the lock collars hold the keyway, put the nut on, get all that stuff done on both wheels on the back, and I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we're going to mount the right rear wheel assembly. Like I said, axle and everything is still loose as far as the pillar block bearings and all that. So we're going to start on the right side of the cart. We're going to take our keyway, put in here, just like so. I like to take a little grease and smear a little grease on this. It is kind of a tight fit. And plus, if you put a little grease on here, like so, it'll help everything go together easy. And plus, it'll keep, make it easier if you ever got to take your wheel off later down the road. If you got a flat tire, want to change your tires or whatnot, put a little grease on here. Yeah, good enough. Now I need a paper towel. Okay, so we're going to take the wheel. Now, there's going to have you have white wheels more than likely. You want your valve stem facing out. They do have the keyway already in there. So what we're going to do is put the keyway, get the keyway in, line it up, slide it into place. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take big washer and the nut. That's a nylon lock nut. We're going to thread this down, and what we want to do is we want just a thread or two of the axle sticking out past the nylon, so we know that the nylon's doing its job and locking down tight. So we'll get this started on here. Y'all can't see nothing. How about we move over here a little bit? Look at that. Shazam. Now this is a big nut. It's an 1 1/16. Is that right? Yes, 1 1/16. If you don't have 1 1/16, you can always use a crescent wrench. So we're just going to run this one down, get it tight till we have, I want a couple threads sticking out past that nylon. A little bit more. That way we know that nylon. How about one more good turn? Yeah, there we go. Now we know that nylon is locked down on the threads and we're all good to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, that's all good. We're going to push this wheel all the way out, and then we're going to lock down the collar that's on the inside. So I'll get this collar locked down. I'm going to get the other wheel on. Basically, we're going to do the exact same thing we did on the right side. We're going to go do on the left side. Then I'll spin you around and show you exactly what it looks like as far as the back side of the rim. All right, I got both the rear wheels on. As you can see, got them all tightened down. And we come over here. We want at least a good thread or two sticking out past that. We got that done. So next thing you do when you got your nut tight, you want to make sure this wheel is pushed all the way out against the washer. So your washer right here and your nut is good and tight. Your wheel is tight against that washer. Then you'll slide this first lock collar over, and I don't know if it's going to zoom in there or not, but once you got your keyway in, this thing don't want to zoom for squat. You take your lock collar, here's your keyway right here where your keyway would go in. When you go to tighten your lock collar up, you want that lock collar turned so it's not in the same relation, so it holds your keyway in, if you understand what I'm saying right there. So the opening is way up here at the top where the slot would be, and my keyway for my axle is right here. So your lock collar basically is a wheel stop, and it keeps your keyway from backing out as you're going down the road. So when you come over here and basically do the same thing. Don't want to zoom in there, but that also is, we did the exact same thing on the left side. So now what we're going to do, before we can mock anything else up, everything else is still loose. Sprocket's still loose. Your brake drum is all still loose. The rest of your collars. So what I need to do now is I need to get a measurement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the inside. I'm going to find the center of my frame first thing. Put me a little mark. And then I'm going to measure off both sides of the frame to the inside of the wheel or inside of the tire. One of the two. So that way my axle is completely centered and it don't look cattywampus like that. You got half a mile sticking out over there. So when I get that straight, get the engine and all the other stuff on, then we can come over here and start lining up sprocket, brake, and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get my measurement and get the rear axle centered to the kart frame itself. Okay, got my measurements. I went from the outside edge right here to the inside of the tire, and it's about 4 5/8 is what I come with on both sides. Same measurement here. I just went off the top edge of the frame to the inside edge of the wheel. I'm sorry, the tire, and we're good to go. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take an 1/8 inch Allen wrench. I'm gonna come over here to the pillar block bearings. These already have Loctite on them. Look like there was a little blue on them. Yeah, there's a little blue on them, but I'm gonna hit them with some red. Since everything is squared up where I want it, there's 2 on each wheel, or 2 each on each pillar block. So I'm gonna pull those 2 out, get them Loctited red, come over here, do the same thing, get those Loctited red. And these are greasable, so it's a good service point. Same time you're like lubing your chain, lubing your clutch, lubing cables, make sure you get you a grease gun. That way you can hit these down here, and we'll put that little cap back on there. That way you can keep your pillow box lubed up for your axle. So let me get that tightened up and Loctited, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so now since we got all the lock collars on the pillow block bearings, red Loctited, axle centered, before we can do anything else as far as lining up clutch, sprocket, and all that, we need to get a power plant on it. So your Bolt Kart Kit will come with a 98cc engine. Get this tag out of the way. These do ship dry, no oil, no gas. They do have tags everywhere, so make sure you get engine oil. So when you're out picking up your paint or powder coat, whatever you're doing for your kart, make sure to stop by. I would suggest getting some non-ethanol fuel, get you some oil. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna get a little bit of fuel in it, oil in it, and we're gonna mock up everything for the engine. We'll spin this power plant around. Already took the protective little cover off the crankshaft. In your kit, you're going to find a clutch and your chain. Your engine bolts, they're all labeled right here for you. So you got your engine bolts. Then also in this little bag right here, we'll turn it over. It's going to be your flat washer, lock washer, hold your clutch in place. Inside your package here, make sure don't throw your instructions away, because I think you do need the little washer. So we got that for us. We got a clutch guard that also comes in your kit, and the hardware. Hardware was actually taped to it. Took it off to paint it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these started first. These bolts are a lot easier if you start them in the engine block. That way you can take the Go Power Sports clutch cover, slide it down over it, and then finish tightening it up after you got your, put this on very last, after you got your clutch and all that good stuff on. So I'm going to get the motor prep for oil and fuel, clutch, and the clutch guard, which we'll probably leave that off the very last after we route the chain. But we need to get this engine on there. That way we can come over here and get everything else lined up. So let me get to prepping the engine. Okay, already got my engine oil topped off. Now in your kit with your tool, which would be in this bag right here, make sure you don't throw this away like everybody else does. You'll need to retrieve the washer or spacer out of this kit. So we got that. That's going to slide on the crankshaft, put just like so. And in your kit, you will get a clutch, 35 chain. Now's a good time, since you have it off, is to oil the chain. They already feel good, but I take my oil right here and I come right inside, right down here, and I just put a few drops. Now if you got engine oil works good. You don't want to over oil it. I just put a few drops in there, hold the clutch, spin the drum, let it work its way down inside there, because you don't want to get any oil inside of here. You just want it down inside the bushing. That feels pretty good. Might give another little extra drop. There we go. Don't need much. Let that work down inside there. Yeah, it feels good. Now this particular clutch already has the keyway installed. So we're just going to line it up. Just like so. Oh, I have my bolts already in. If you can see that right there. Bolts already in, and I had some washers laying over here for something. So I went ahead and put a flat washer behind them. You don't really need to. I just had them, so I did. So I started these. These are a 13 millimeter wrench to get these started. That way you can just come in with the wrench and tighten these up after you got the chain guard over the top. So we're just going to line the clutch up, slide the clutch on, find your hardware packet, which will consist of a flat washer, your lock washer, and your clutch bolt. We're going to get this started first by hand. Let's see, lefty loosey, righty tighty. There we go. Get it run down. We'll just take the driver, give it a good zap, and not with that socket, obviously, because that's the wrong socket. Golly gee, where's it at? That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. Every socket but what you need. Where's it go? Well, boy. That's it. Let's see. There it is. Now we got the right socket. We can just zap it home. Good deal. Now we can take the cover. Whenever we get to that part, we can just slide this cover right down over the bolts, come in from the back and the front, and tighten the cover up. But I want to have this off so I can able to get to the chain. So what we got to do next, come over here to your hardware kit, and it'll tell you your engine mounting hardware on this bag right here. Comes with your bolts, washers, or lock washers, and flange nuts. So now we can take the power plant, get it bolted onto the cart, and start lining stuff up. Okay, got the engine ready, but before we do that, I figured I'd come over here, because if I get the engine on, I might have a problem getting to these bolts back here. So let's go ahead and put the seats in it, which I already have the seats in it. You'll find them in your in with your kit. You have a bottom and the top, or bottom and the back, I guess you say. I looked them both over, and they both look pretty much identical. So I don't think, and I swapped them around. They'll fit wherever you want to put them. And you can kind of adjust these wherever you want. Now you could take this before you drill your holes. You could bring it all the way up if you want a little bit more back support. The only thing is, I found out if you did that, then you're going to be covering up the cool bracing right there. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit, just about there. Well, a little too much. Down a little bit. I want to be able to see the cool lightning bolts, the GPS, and the Bill Break Repeat logos. So we might drop this down a little bit more. Right about yonder. We'll get that square. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to come over here on the back, take a pencil, mark out my 2 holes, or I'm sorry, mark out the 4 holes. And then while I got that one bolted, then I can come down, slide this one where I want it, come from underneath the cart, and mark those 4 holes. Then you'll come over here to your hardware kit that they supplied, and you'll find these little bags. There'll be 2 of them right here with 4 bolts in each one, and they're labeled for your seat back and seat bottom. So that's what you need to look for, and that's what your bolts will look like. And we're going to drill a 7 30-second hole in those. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to get these marked where I want it. Oh, I don't like that right there. We need to drop that down a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good right there. No, I don't want that white wood showing. So I get these marked, pull them out, drop some, drill some holes in it. When you're drilling those holes, make sure and be extra careful. Don't drill all the way through and punch a hole in the front side of your brand new seat. You can ask me how I know that, because it's happened before. So let me get the seat mounted, and then we can jump back to getting this engine in here. That way you got enough room, or I'll have enough room to get the seat bolts in it. So let me get the seats mounted. We'll be back on the power plant. All right, we got the engine in place. Engine's loose. So now what you want to do is take and slide your engine all the way to the very back of the cart. Leave all your engine bolts loose. I got the chain cut. They give you enough chain in the kit, so you will need a chain breaker, or you can use a grinder and a punch the whole way, but I suggest a chain breaker. Pick you up one at Go Power Sports. Makes it a lot easier. This is how much chain I had to cut out of it. And in your chain, they do supply you with your master link, clip, all that. So what we did here is already got the chain cut, just kind of got it mocked up there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, and since everything is still loose, my sprocket is able to, well, I got the keyway in it, but you can still slide it back and forth. So what you want to do is you want to come down, I have the keyway in it. I'm going to get everything lined up, get my chain good and straight, get my motor adjusted. Then you have a lock collar here in the back. What you want to do is you want to take this lock collar. These are, you need a 5mm Allen wrench. Once you got your engine in line, your sprocket, everything good and straight where you want it, you'll come back here, and this is good. Basically, this lock collar will hold it into place. So once you got this one locked, you'll come over and you'll slide your other lock collar over. Your keyway will stick out, if it'll zoom in. Keyway will stick out just a little bit. So you want to roll this lock collar where it goes over the keyway. Let's see, is it going to go over? Yes, it'll go over the keyway like so. You'll lock it. Then you slide your other keyway down, or your other lock collar, and you want to turn it just so your keyway doesn't back all the way out. So you don't want to line your slot up here with the slot that's in the lock collar. You want to rotate it, you know, about like yonder there. That way it keeps your keyway in place and it doesn't work loose. So I'm going to get everything, get the chain and all that good and straight, get the motor lined up, get my chain and all that stuff in good place, get it bolted down, and then we'll come back and take a look at it and see how that looks. Then we can put the chain card on it. All right, now we're going to get back here and do the brakes. So what we got on here now, we still have the one lock collar that's loose. We got our brake drum that's loose. Then we'll have another lock collar. Let's see, that stays over there. Then we'll have one right here. So what you're going to do is look in your hardware and find the small piece of keyway. We're going to need that to lock this in place. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put the band on it first. Kind of mock this up. Kind of show you what we're going to do here. All right, we're going to stick a bolt in. Then you're going to find your brake band that's in your kit. This brake band is going to slide right over like so. And here on this particular bolt, we're going to use a poly lock nut. Right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get this started. There we go. Now we want to tighten this down just a little bit where this band is still loose. It's going to be all the way against your engine bracket, so we're going to run the nut down. But we want to be able to have this band just where it's snug, where you got some movement in it, but you don't want to crush this. So once you got that lined up, then you are actually going to slide our, let's see if we can look at it down here. What we're going to do is once we got our band where we want it lined up, now we can slide our brake disc over, just like so, where everything is going to be, let's see, trying to do this one-handed, where everything is going to be lined up nice and straight, just like so. If you're following me, okay? Once you got that all nice and lined up where your drum and your band are all lined up together, you're going to lock this back collar, the one that's right here on the inside. You'll lock that collar because that's going to keep your brake drum from floating from side to side. Then you get your keyway, small piece of keyway right here. You're going to put your keyway in, and then you're going to put the other lock collar, and you're going to turn it where the slot is opposite of where your axle slot is, if you're following me. And what that does is once you put your keyway in, You're going to slide that over against there, get that one tight. So the keyway will hold your drum in place. Both lock collars on both sides will keep your keyway from backing out and keep your drum in place. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to get all this tightened up, and then we'll come back, take a look at it, see what it looks like when we got it all tight. All right, I got it all done. You got to see if we can get a pointer up in. Whoa, get a pointer up here. This lock collar is going to hold your brake drum from walking, and it also is turned so it doesn't let your keyway back out. And then over here, we got the keyway slid into your brake drum. I got the set screws tight here. Then I put this lock collar on, and I rotated it where the shaft doesn't line up with it, so it keeps your keyway from backing out on that side. And the brake band, we use that lock nut on it. That way it's tight, but it doesn't move around and it doesn't crush the end of the brake drum. So now what we do is roll this piece of the brake drum up, and we're going to mount the cable. So we're going to get another bolt, same bolt that we used on the rest of the frame, and a lock nut. We're going to secure this end to the end of the brake band that's open. Then we're going to come back over here to the two jam nuts. We'll remove this rubber little dust boot. We're going to slide this down. Then we're going to take this one nut right here. We're going to back it all the way off, just like so. There we go. A lot of threads. Got plenty of adjustment. Now we'll take this piece. We're going to turn it back around. I'm going to route the cable on the other side of the frame. But this cable eyelet is going to go right into your engine mount bracket right here. It's got a little slot. If I can get a picture of it down there. Got a little slot in the top, so we just drop the cable through. We'll thread it through or insert it in the hole. Then we're just going to put this cable adjustment, the two nuts, about halfway, and then we'll do our final adjustments once we got it hooked up at the front. So let me get this cable routed, then go get a bolt and another lock nut for the bottom of the brake band right here, and we'll route that cable towards the front. Okay, got it all mounted up. Got the cable ran. This is how your cable should look. And I just put this about the threaded part of the cable about halfway just to mock it up. And then whenever I get the front hooked onto the pedal, then we come back and make the final adjustments. But this is how everything should look. See if I can zoom in on this part here for you. Use the same things we did on the front. We used the same bolt as we did on the rest of the frame, but we did use a poly lock nut down here, just like so. Now there is some play in it right now. Golly, I'm banging everything. There is some play in this brake drum. There shouldn't be that much distance in between there, but once you get the pedal and everything mounted, we're going to come back and get all this cable adjusted where you have just a little bit of drag on the drum, but we'll show you how you get all that adjusted. But this is at least how it should be mocked up back here, and then we can go to the front and get the pedal and all that good stuff put on. But since that's done, the chain's lined up, chain's tight, all the rear axle stuff is done, I'm going to come over here, slide the clutch cover, clutch and chain guard on. We're going to go ahead and get that put on since we'll be done back here in the back area, I do believe. So we got it all painted up. So I'm going to grab us a 13 millimeter. We're going to slide that into place. We're going to get that bolt on. And then we'll run to the front and we'll get some pedals on this thing. Okay, we got the cable all ran. We ran it right down inside the frame, the handle rail. So now we're going to get up here and install the pedal, which you'll find in your kit. We got a throttle stop or a brake stop since we're doing brake. Then we got the brake cable holder, which is also going to hold your cable and your spring. And we got our springs. So what we're going to do now is you'll find two of these in your kit. These are going to be your throttle or your brake pedal stops. So you're going to take these two front bolts out. Then you're going to put your stop here, and this is adjustable. So you're going to slide it wherever you would like to have it. We're just going to put it somewhere in between for right now, and then we can mock it up, make our final adjustments. Put it right about there. Then we're going to put the hardware back underneath it. All right. We're just going to leave these where we can adjust this. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the pedal. You got a right and a left pedal. You'll find them in your bag. And also in your hardware kit, you'll find some flat washers. We're going to start off with 4 on here. We're going to slide these over the pedal boss or the bolt. And this will already come, this pedal will already come with a poly lock nut on it. So we got those 4 on there. So we're just going to slide it through the frame rail. Now I had to take the head of this one bolt and turn it just a little bit so your throttle return deal, I didn't hit it. So I had to turn this one bolt a little bit. So right there looks good. We're going to put the poly lock nut on the end of the pedal bolt. We're just going to run that down finger tight. That looks like it should clear good. Then we can put our brake pedal stop where we want once we got everything adjusted. So we're going to put that there. Then you'll have 2 of these brackets here. These are going to be for holding your cable for your brake and your throttle. It's going to be the same thing on the other side. So you take your other 45 millimeter bolt. We'll run this through the frame. Get it in there. There we go. All right. We'll take the hardware and then secure this on the bottom side. All right. Okay. Let me go get a pair of pliers and we'll get this. I'm gonna get this stuff tightened up. Then we'll put the spring and the cable in place. Okay, got everything, all the bolts that I took out, got them all tightened back up. Got the cable holder, got it tight. The nut that's on your brake pedal here, got it tight, so we still got nice movement. It travels like it's supposed to. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get us a spring out of the hardware kit that are labeled. And we're gonna come over, we're gonna put this one in the inside, and we're gonna put it in the second hole right there. All right, now we'll get the cable mounted, just like so. Get some room back here at the back. Let's go ahead and just take that back off for a second. We're gonna do this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna run 1 bolt through it. These will be in your hardware kit. They're 10 millimeter. We're gonna run these down. Just like so. This one's going to go into the top. Let's go ahead and feed the cable through first. We'll loosen the nut, take the little dust protector off. We can start this back right here. Now we're going to take this one, run this through the top brake pedal hole. And we're going to put the 10 millimeter nut on here and get it tight. Just like so. Now I'm going to leave the spring off so we can go back here and where my spring? The spring will actually hook inside of here and come on the top pedal. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this off till I get all my adjustment done at the back. Then we can put this nut back on here and we can run that down there. So we're going to come back here and get the brake pedal adjusted because we got a lot of play in it. We'll get that adjusted and we're going to put our spring back on. Then we're going to go over here and do the front pedals for the throttle. Okay, now we're going to get over here and do the throttle. So you go into your bag of hardware, get your throttle cable out. What we're going to do is I'm going to route this cable, just like I did the brake cable, right down through the frame here. There we go. Don't want to kink anything up. All right, that ought to stay right along here. I'm going to go ahead and put this, put our 10 millimeter bolt in here and get this done. This will go through. Let's see, where's the impact and the wrench? This bolt here will be what holds to your brake pedal or your throttle pedal. Run this down where it's kind of tight. A little bit of play in it. A little bit more. That ought to work. All right, we got that done. Now, already pulled the front bolts out of the frame to put our stop in place. So we're going to put that there. Put our bolts back in the frame. Go ahead and get the hardware started underneath. And we need one right here at the front. All right, we'll go back here later and snug those up. Now we're going to take our bracket. That side I got to, went to put the spring on, I put it on the wrong way. So we'll show you what it looks like in a minute. First time I had it on this way, I needed to actually turn it around this way. But we got it. Put another bolt in. Come underneath, put our hardware on. We'll torque this up in a bit. All right, so that's lined up. Now let's see, we'll take our other spring out of the bag. You're gonna need that. Take our accelerator pedal, gas pedal. We're gonna need to put 4 flat washers on it. That's what worked good on the other side. We'll mock it up. Let's stick it in here. Let's see. Oh yeah, works good. Also, we need to put the poly lock nut on the brake gas pedal bolt, not the brake pedal bolt, gas pedal bolt. We'll just run that down. All right, everything looks like it's going to clear. There's a bolt. You're back. You have the 3 bolts in the front frame rail. The one on that side I had to turn just a little bit because the pedal stop was hitting it. But this one looked like it's going to clear real good. So, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'll go back and get all this tightened down, torqued down. Then we'll hook the accelerator pedal up and go to the back of the engine and get it mocked up. All right, got all the bolts torqued down, so they're all good. Works like it's supposed to. Got your throttle stop. I did leave these. I put this adjustment about in the center, and you can also go back and adjust it at the motor also, but I put this one about in the center. And got your brackets over here for your brake. Already went back there and got it adjusted, so it's all good to go. I did leave these a little loose. That way it's not a lot of bind on this cable, but it's lock nuts, so they're not going to go nowhere. All right, so we're in business. So we're going to go back here to the back of the engine and come up here and route the cable through. Let's see if we can pull this handle out of the way a little bit. So we're going to route the cable back around, come underneath the hold down right here, which is a Phillips screwdriver. We're going to need another Phillips screwdriver and a 10mm wrench. We're going to we'll loosen the 10mm bolt, running your cable right through the eyelet. I'm going to get it adjusted where I want it. We'll snug this down, come back and snug down the hole down, and we ought to be business there. So let's get that cable right there mounted up, and we ought to be good. But here's take a look at the brakes. I run that. That's about there, a little bit more on the back towards the engine than the seat side, but I got a little bit of play in the band, but everything still turns good. I didn't pull them stickers off there. They'll burn off, but everything spins good. We got just a little bit of a drag. I didn't want a whole lot. But, so, all looks good back here. Let's get the throttle cable on it and go on to the next step. All right, got the throttle all mounted up. I think that's where I left off, where I had to do a battery change. But anyway, we got the throttle hooked up. See if we can do the pedal. Oh yeah, everything looks good. And see if we can zoom in right down underneath the throttle lever. Right here is your throttle strap screw with a little spring on it. So if you got a new timer, young kiddo, whatever, you can actually blah, blah, blah. Let me spit it out. You can thread this screw or bolt in, and that allows how far your throttle comes and actually stops, so you can kind of govern the speed or how far your throttle throws open on the carburetor. If you have this screw pushed in, you can actually slow the cart down so it doesn't open the throttle all the way up. I did back it out for me, because I've rode a go-kart like once or twice. But kind of cool thing here. So if you got a new kiddo that you're just building this for and you don't want them going, Mach speed, you can screw that thing in and till they get the hang of riding the cart, safely. Then you can take this thing, back it out, or take it completely out. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, throttle's jobbing. So now what we're going to do is, obviously, since you're going to go, you got to be able to way to stop. They put some holes right here. Man, nothing wants to zoom. 2 slots or 2 holes right at the bottom of your steering column there, right below your steering wheel. And in your kit, we'll come over here. They supplied you with a kill switch. Here's what your bag should look like. It's threaded, toggle switch, 56 inch. That's the bag it came in. So here's your toggle switch right here. And there's nothing on the end, so you can basically cut it to whatever length you want. But on the back of the motor, come over here, back over here, back over here. You're looking at the back of the motor here, right next to your on and off fuel valve. You'll have the wire that comes out that goes to your coil. This is your ground wire, so if you take and ground this directly to the block, to the frame, whatever, it's going to kill your engine. So we already have this boot on there. So I dug around in my stash stuff. If you're like me, y'all guys, I don't throw away anything. These are your, this is the low oil kill that would be in like a Predator, clone motor, whatever. But it's got a nice little cool billet end on it, right? With a little rubber zoom. Whatever. There it is. It's got the nice little rubber protective. And this male is going to go on to the female that's on the engine. So we're going to repurpose that. We're going to cut this off. I'm going to figure out how long I want my wire. We're going to solder and heat shrink that on there. And you have to be able to, these are 2 wires in here. I left it all together, but there's 2 wires. Yeah, see if you can see it coming out of the back of the switch. See, you got 2 wires there. So one's going to go to your engine for your keel, and the other one's going to be your ground wire. So what I'm going to do there is found some eyelets. I'm going to shorten those wires up, solder, heat shrink me an eyelet on it for my ground, which I can run just right behind the key switch. If you don't have an eyelet, what you could do, strip that wire back, come over here, loosen one of your nuts up right here, stick it behind the nut, and then tighten it down where you got a good connection. That will give you a good ground there if you wanted to do that way. I'm going to try and make it look nice and neat and whatnot. I don't like a bunch of wires flopping around. So you can do it either way, whatever you have. I just happen to have some leftover junk here that I'm going to repurpose. So what I'm going to do now is get the kill switch done, measured out how long I need to cut the wire, because this said it was, let's see what the bag say, like 56 inches. So I'll get that made and we'll get her put on there. All right, got the kill switch mounted. Like I said, I just took the end of this low oil kill, snipped the end of it off. So I gotta have a nice little bullet spade with a little rubber on it. Got that soldered heat shrinked on. I soldered me an eyelet. Of course, the eyelet I have didn't quite go over, because what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stick this right over to the back of the threads when I mount it. So I had to put a little snip in it to open it up a little bit, but kind of trimmed it up so it's kind of short, so it'll be hidden behind the dash. So you got your on and off. So we're going to go over here, get this mounted, zip tied up. We'll see how that looks when we get that installed. All right, got the kill switch mounted up in there. Looks pretty good. You can put it in either hole. I just stuck it in this one because I was on this side of the frame. Got the little on and off switch indicator deal. Plate put on. I just kind of ran the wires right down the steering column tube. Then I just zip tied it along the brake cable, which runs right inside the frame. And the brake cable kind of comes and loops back here behind the seat. So that wire was really long. It's like 56 inches long. So I got some extra just in case, hey, it's a go-kart. You never know if you're going to run over a stick or something or catch it. Now that way I got extra if I ever got to splice onto it. And I just zip tied it down there through the engine mount bolt hole. Run it right up. Plugs into the factory plug on the engine. Got the rubber little deals on it, so we're all good. So we're about ready to put the front wheels on it. Now, the rear wheels you get are white, because they have for the solid axle, right? The front wheels I got with this particular kit, yours might be different, but the ones I got were a gray color and really didn't go with the theme, since I wanted the fronts to match the back, you follow me? So I'm gonna go grab those. I scuffed them up with a little Scotch-Brite pad, do some white paint on them. So we're going to put those on here, and then we're going to get the steering lined up. We're going to line the front wheels up with the back. Since we have adjustable turnbuckles right here, we can sit here and turn this in and out to get my steering done. So we'll get that on, show you how I adjust the steering, and we're about ready to put her on the ground and give her a good rip. All right, got the front end done. Yeah, the white wheels, yeah, look a lot better. They were like a light gray color, just didn't go. But we got everything put on. Got the bearings put back in. Now when you go to put your wheel nuts on the front, they're a 15/16, so you can use either a 15/16 wrench, socket and ratchet, crescent wrench, whatever you got. Snug them down. You should have about 2 threads sticking out the front, but basically I just spun them till I got a little bit of a drag. Then I backed them off just a little bit. Got both of them put on. Now when you're doing your steering, you can do it different ways. I just took tape measure and measured basically from the inside of the wheel here to the other side, backside to backside. Or you could probably cheat and go down, put you a straight edge down the front wheel to the back wheel. I did a good old eyeball and looks pretty good. But once you got everything tight, your tie rods are adjustable. So I have the jam nut loose here. I have the jam nut loose here on both sides. So what you do, once you get everything bolted up and kind of eyeballed, you want to start these all the way in. But once you turn this rod, probably can't tell, it just sits there and turns that tire in or out, wherever you want to put it. So once you got these all adjusted, got your wheel alignment where you want it, everything's good and straight, I'm going to come back, tighten this jam nut, get me 2 wrenches, make sure all these are tight. You got 4 of them. You got 1 or 2 on each tie rod. And they're reverse threads, 1 end will be. So we're going to run these all the way down, get those all tightened up. I double checked all the rest of my steering bolts. Ends down here, we're good. I did the same thing on this side. I just turned the wheel until I got a little bit of a drag on it, then backed it off a hair so everything spins good. What's cool about these wheels is, see if I can zoom in down here. See that right there? You got a grease zert, whatever you'd like to call it. So you can actually grease your front wheel bearings. So whenever you're doing your maintenance, you know, oiling your chain, lubing all that stuff, cleaning your air filter, greasing your pillow blocks on the back. Now you can come up here, grease your front wheel bearings. Man, you ought to get tons of life out of these things. But if you did have to replace them, Go Power Sports carries millions of these bearings. So, but you keep them greased, man, you should be good to go. She's not looking bad at all. We're about done. We got a few more little small accent pieces to put on it. Of course, it's pitch dark outside, and those front wheels still need to dry a little bit more. So when the sun comes out tomorrow, we're going to get her on the ground, see what it looks like in the sunlight, and we're going to take her for a rip. Yeah, we got that chain all good to go. Yeah. All right. So we will see y'all in the morning. All right, well, we got a pretty sunny day. We got the cart outside. We got the better half all helmeted up, safety first. So we got our electric bike out with the new 360 we're trying to get used to. So we're gonna take a rip around the block. You ready?
Waiting on you.
Waiting on me. All right, let's go. Up. All right, we're on. I don't have any sunglasses and it's killing me. So we took the cart around the block and everything went great. This thing handles great, steers easy, brakes really good. Very smooth cart. So if y'all are in the need of a cart or a cool, fun project, this thing would be great to put together with your son, daughter, grandkids. This is fun. This thing was like building an adult wrecker set that you actually get to go ride when you're finished putting it together. So we'll leave you a link in the description below. So you can go down there and click on the link at the bottom. Same place where you can leave comments as well. If you built one, hey, shoot me a comment or whatnot. But we'll leave you all that info down there. So you just click on it, takes you right to Go Power Sports website, gives you all the dimensions of everything, what you get in the kit and whatnot. So you can feel free to share this video also, or you get one of these carts, you can go back, watch it. You can stop it here and there and walk you through on how to build it. Some of the parts are a little tricky, but once you lay everything out, organize all your parts, everything just bolts right together. That's why they call it a Bolt cart. So go check out my good fellow YouTube buddies over at Build, Break, and Repeat. They come up with this cool design and collaborated with Go Power Sports. So really great guys. Go check them out. And they come up with something really cool here. And big thanks to Go Power Sports for the opportunity to build this cart. The 3 horsepower motor is great. You can also back the little screw out if you got a young new rider. You can back it out so they everything is safe for them to ride. But I think maybe down the road we might just stick us a 212 on this thing, a little mild tilly. I think that would be fun with the live axle. That'd be cool. We can get the other cart out. Wife can go ride it around. We can go cart in the neighborhood. So big thanks again for Go Power Sports. Go check them out. Pick you up one. And yeah, well, that's the end of this video. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment. And if you're new, go over there and hit the subscribe bell. Be greatly appreciated. We got some other stuff lined up, some new Go Power Sports products that I got also. So you want to stay tuned. We're going to get some videos up of that. And we got a big build coming up that's going to have a lot of cool stuff done to it. So y'all stay tuned. We'll see y'all folks on the next video. Thank y'all for watching. Bye now.